What's going on, people? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's your boy Malcolm Miller, the Thriller in Manila, the Lady Killer, and I'm back once again. I'm going to talk about why collegiate athletes should be paid. First of all, if it wasn't for these college athletes, these big-time players for these revenue-generating sports, yes, basketball and football specifically, you would never know what a Duke University is. You wouldn't know where it's located. You wouldn't even hear about it. If it was strictly based upon academics, you wouldn't even hear about it. A lot of people don't even know what MIT is if you're not an academically inclined person, if you're not into STEM, science and math related subjects. You don't even know what Massachusetts Institute of Technology is, one of the top schools in the whole entire country. But people know what Duke University is, where it's located, strictly based off the success of the basketball program. Same for Kentucky, University of Kentucky, University of North Carolina, all these big-time, big-name schools. The reasons why people go to these schools is because the sports teams are phenomenal. I'm telling you right now. I remember when I was at Mississippi Valley State University, and one of the heads of the school, my boy Kenneth Mister told me he went to Mississippi State strictly because he was a fan of the football team since a child. And no, you can't tell me that's not happening at these other big-time schools. People go to Alabama strictly for the football program. You're a big-time football fan. Your father, your mother, your grandfather played for Alabama. So now you're going to go there strictly because you're a fan of their winning program. You can't tell me that the sports don't generate recruitment for the schools. And I'm not talking about for the strictly athletic teams. I'm talking about the general student body is recruited based upon how successful the athletic team is. I remember when George Mason University made that fantastic run in the NCAA tournament in the basketball, and their enrollment shot up. It increased dramatically due to them making that run in the NCAA tournament. So that lets me know everything I need to know. And then the programs, right? At Mississippi Valley State, specifically, I remember the basketball team brought in about $850,000 in their non-conference schedule. This money is not just allocated to the sports teams, it's allocated to the whole university. They spend it on funding for the buildings and all type of renovations. So listen, look, these athletes fund so much, not to mention the merchandise. The merchandise with their numbers on it, their names on it, their likeness, their pictures, everything is on it. And it's being sold all across the internet worldwide where people can just go ahead and buy Alabama gear. You can buy University of Florida gear. You can buy Ohio State University, the Ohio State University. All this gear is put all on the internet for people to get, and these kids aren't receiving any type of dollars for it. No type of monetary gain for their sweat equity. Then I'm going to talk about the degrees, because people say you get a free education. That's pay enough. Really? You think you get a free education for real? Let's be honest. At University of North Carolina, these kids were taking paper classes. This boy had a final where he wrote 5 or 6 sentences for a final grade, and he submitted that as a paper. These fake paper classes that they're taking to get a degree that means nothing. So only about 1% of the collegiate athletes actually go professional in their sports. So all these other 99% of the other kids, they don't go professional. What happens to them when they don't have a degree that they can translate into the real world? They're not taught a skill that they can translate into the real world. So they're just thrown out into the world and say, here you go, here this little degree that means nothing, and they have to fend for themselves. And what do they get? Not a damn thing. That's the crazy thing about it. Then they can injure themselves. They can injure themselves playing the sports, and then some schools don't even take up or pick up the medical bills for them. They have to. Now they out here killing themselves and putting everybody on the line. They can't even pay the medical bill because the school not going to even pay for it. Or they get hurt and then they have a degree that they can't even fall back on. It means nothing, like nothing. And also, when you're playing collegiate sports, you have no time for internships or anything that makes your resume attractive. Like I can. I'm a regular student. I can go out and get internships in the summer and make my resume attractive for people to say, listen, we need to hire this kid. He has so much experience. The only experience they get is playing in football and basketball, playing on the football field, on the basketball court. Their resume is nearly bleak because they have nothing to offer to the public besides the leadership in athletics. And a lot of times people don't even look at that for whatever job they're trying to get. So that's the real unfortunate side about it. And then also there's a cap put on how much money they can make. They can't even work and get adequate money for themselves in the summer because NCAA says you cannot make this amount of money. They put a cap on their earning potential. Me as a regular mass communication student, I can do all type of stuff to get increase my income, but a collegiate athlete in a revenue generating sport such as football and basketball, or even other sports as well, non-revenue generating, they can't even earn themselves enough money to do anything they want to do. They have to have a restriction placed on it. And if that's not crazy to y'all, I don't know what is. You telling me I can't go out and work for money? I can't go out and make enough money for myself on my own terms? Like I have to be restricted? That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it's so much that factors in why collegiate athletes should be paid. It's ridiculous. The school signs these multi-million-dollar deals with these CBS Sports Network, TNT for the NCAA tournament. The farther the school goes in the tournament, the more money the team gets and the school gets, but the kids aren't seeing any of it. And to me, that's completely unfair. Like I can name you so many guys that play collegiate basketball and work in factories now because they can't even get a job. Like they don't even have a degree that is able to help them be sustainable in the real world. Then they're put into these classes where only thing they focus on, a lot of these schools focus on, is you being eligible to play. So they put you in the easiest majors. Like I said, they're getting degrees that don't even mean anything, you know, and that's the sad part about it. And so many kids go through this time and time again for people to tell them you're getting a free education. First of all, you know how much time their athletics take up in a day for themselves? Like they have to go wake up at 5 a.m. They got to go run, lift weights at 5. Then they got to go watch film. And then they got to go have, they have individual drills later on in the day. Then they got to run through a scrimmage. Then they have to have another practice again. It's never ending. It's a never ending cycle. It's always busy. And people say they know what they signed up for. Yes, they did. But at the same time, a lot of times they don't even have enough time to focus on academics. You know, and then they just being passed on in class, and they're not being taught what they need to be taught to be successful in the world and make that successful transition. And it's a sad story. It's a sad story. You can argue with me all you want, but I've looked up this stuff, man. It's not a good thing. A lot of it can be finessed with these kids. And that's the crazy thing about it, man. Like they even had to stop making the video games because they was making video games with these kids' likeness on it. They had to stop because people were suing. Like, hold on, man. Y'all making games based upon my skills and my face, and it's looking like the guys are getting drafted. Only thing on it, they don't have the names on it. The names on these players, so the players won't ask for money. But it's looking just like the players. They got the same number, the same type of attributes. You already know who it is on the game without even having to see the name. You know, okay, that's Sharon Collins. That's Derrick Rose in the school. That's Blake Griffin on it. Like, you know it. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy thing about it, man. These kids not getting compensated. Now, I'm not talking about Derrick Rose and them, but players that didn't even go pro. Players that didn't even have a chance. They on the team with Derrick Rose and their images on the games. They're not getting no money from these video games that's being created at all. So, hey, what they left with? A paper degree that doesn't even translate to the real world. Unfortunately, while the school keeps getting more money, millions and millions and millions of dollars, adding to their revenue, getting more big time recruits and all these other kids, getting more, their enrollment is increasing due to the sports teams, and the kids get absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, it's just a business. That's all.